Dawson Rider review.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for Mashin Sentai Kiramager episode 12. This was our debut episode for Kiramei Silver, and I thought it was pretty darn good. So let's talk about it. So the core premise starts out with Pink is on like this hiking rescue expedition, but she's left her changer behind. And they're like, well, I hope something doesn't happen because she doesn't have her changer. And then you immediately cut to her with like a sprained ankle. And when she's out there, she runs into who's gonna be Kiramei Silver. And he's just like, oh, hey, how's it going? You know, if you wanna go on a date sometime, let me know, I'm gonna leave. And she's like, you can't just leave me here. So then he helps her out and he puts like some cream on her wound and whatever, and then he tries to leave. And she's like, you can't just leave me here. He's like, I put Crisco on your leg. What more do you want from me? And then they make a deal so that he rescues her and backpacks her out, but he's still got to go on his little expedition when he's looking for something. And it's really funny because like there's a scene where he uses his changer and she sees it to like scout because it's got like a scanning feature. And it's funny because, I mean, I feel like being a ranger, I would have noticed that was a morpher. But it is different from the Kiramager one, like the main one, so I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. However, when he used it and it screams, Kiramei! You think she would have noticed that. Like, it took her for a same thing with the weapon when he summons it later. But anyway, she helps him find out where this mountain is by being intuitive about the map book he has, and he's going to dig it up, and it turns out that it's not a Kiramei stone that he's trying to dig up or something good. It's something called a Mon stone, which is like a mindless crystal golem. Meanwhile, you have the Rangers are fighting an attack by a meteor monster, which is funny because during the fight, he's raining down meteors on them, and they're like, oh my god, someone's shooting at us. There's another monster here. And then a little bit later, they're like, wait, no one was ever shooting at us. It was meteors the whole time. I'm like, dude, not only do they look like meteors, but the dude you're fighting has a meteor for a face. So that was pretty dumb. But then when Silver and Pink are off, like, confronting that weird golem thing, he says like it tries to possess you, but then it instantly runs off and he's like, oh, I must have found someone more interesting. And my first thought it was going to be someone else in the woods, but he walked himself all the way to the city and possessed the monster of the week. And I honestly thought they were going to create a hybrid form, but it just gave the monster angry eyes to become super powerful. So powerful, he knocks the Rangers into a quarry fight. And that's when Silver shows up there and he leaves, or I almost said yellow, he leaves Pink and he flies off with his drill weapon like a magic carpet, which was simultaneously awesome and stupid. He shows up and he's like, hang back rookie, let me show you how it's done. And he morphs into Silver, he does the splits, he defeats the monster, you know how it is, it's all flashy. I really like that suit, guys. Like, I know some people are mixed on it, and I myself am so sick of Silver and Gold being the only 6 Rangers that they consider. But despite that, I love the suit. I think it's really unique and cool looking. I like the vibe of it, like there's cool details, like it has like an adventure pouch on his leg. And I like how so much of him reminds me of Boken Silver, and he's an adventurer, and that was Bokenger's theme, and yet Boken Silver's theme within the rescuing, or within the adventuring series was rescuing. But anyway, after he defeats the monster, then Brawhead shows up and she's like, how dare you? And she slaps him because it's her brother. And there's all these hints throughout the episode that people know who she is, or he is, and they're sensing him, and Garza's like, could it be? And like there's a big clue too, is early in the episode when she's worried about Pink. She's like talking about this old legend from Crystalia of a girl with like a skinny leg or something, and then he reiterates it when he runs into her, so that's a big clue. So you figure he's somehow related to it, but he's her brother, and he obviously did something that pissed people off. And even Guy in the chair, whose name I probably will never bother to learn, is like upset about it. And like as a side note, there was some really cool like cinematography shots in this episode. Like there was a really cool one when he blew up the monster and it's like a close-up of his face and it's like flames of like the helmet face. And then speaking of in the chair guy, like there's a scene where he's walking this way, like away from the computer, and then like on the computer screen you see Kiramei Silver walking this way. I thought that was really cool. And then like a cool, like generic but cool, like lake reflecting shot at the end, which was neat. But I thought this was a very cool debut. I enjoyed the dynamic with him and Sayo. I liked his introduction. I liked the little hints and eventual payoff to him being involved in it. He is one of those characters that sits on the fence for me. And I feel like I've mentioned this in multiple reviews in the last few years of certain Toku characters where they sit on this fence where I can see the timeline going one of two ways, where it's a character that's really cool, or a character that ends up being lame Toku nonsense for me. And the only one I can think of where I've said that, and it ended up paying off for the better, was Commander Zhao from Kyuranger, where he ended up being awesome for me. But like this guy, he has like some likable moments. There was times I liked him, which is what likable moments means, and I think I'm interested in his character's potential being related to the Crystalia stuff, and him essentially being the original Kiramager, because like when this episode was starting, I was wondering, like, oh, are they gonna have it be a brother or an uncle or something, or is he just gonna be from there, or is he human but he was like the first Kiramager? And it's kind of like both, because he's their brother and he seems to be one of the first Kiramagers, at least in this new line or whatever. But like, I find him interesting, but he also shows elements that he could turn into what I'm worried about, which is something that's bothered me about most of the 6 Rangers in the last handful of years, is they always end up becoming like a one-note joke. It's like the male companions in Pokemon. It's like hitting on girls, I'm a connoisseur, future is now thanks to science. Like, they end up just turning into a catchphrase, and I'm worried about that, because he had that thing with Pink, and I'm like, can we not turn him into another Brock? We just did this with Ryu's Soul Gold. My hope with that is it's just a fun little bit between them, maybe even a relationship, because we haven't had a Sentai relationship in a while that I can think of, and you know, the deal they made apparently was for just a mutual cheek kiss, aka porn to Saban. But overall, I enjoyed this episode. I'm looking forward to more. In a way, in the blessing in disguise, the hiatus kind of made it feel more spaced out with his debut, so it makes you feel like you lived with the rest of the team for a little bit longer than usual, which is kind of nice. But I liked this episode a lot. I would give it an 8.5. Looking forward to seeing more from him and his mecha debut and all that. But what did you guys think? Do you like Kiramei Silver so far? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.